everyone. I am Dr. Velamani PS, Professor, Department of Computer Science, University of Science and Technology, Meghalaya. In this video, we are going to see machine-to-machine communication versus Internet of Things. So the contents of machine-to-machine communication, that is M2M communication, then the M2M architecture, the M2M versus IoT, then the device scalability in M2M versus IoT technologies, then the characteristics of IoT. These are all certain contents which we can see in this presentation. So let us see directly from this above diagram uh, what exactly the M2M is indicating and the IoT is indicating here. So in terms of M2M, the device, one device to another device is directly communicated. So the device to device communication is directly, it is happening without any internet connection. But in internet connection, these devices to device communication is going to be happen by using through internet. So that is the simple difference which we can see in this M2M versus IoT. So from this diagram, we can move to the explanations. M2M communications, the magazines was launched in the year 2003. The publication explains the pillars of M2M communication to be sensors and or sensors, RFID, remote monitoring, smart services and telemetry. So the remote area machine to machine communications, it was initially the magazine was launched in the year 2003. So it stands for machine to machine communication. It allows devices with wireless connections to directly communicate with each other without any human involvement. M2M stores the data incoming and sends it to other devices. It is a form of technology that offers devices to communicate without any internet requirement. So without any human involvement, then secondary thing is without any internet requirement. Some of the most common uses of M2M are tracking, monitoring, controlling, defense, and management. So M2M allows the user capture, store, and send the data from one device to another. This allows the user to remotely monitor their assets, manage and run their organizations. Simply offer connectivity to the devices with remote connections. M2M architecture. So in this architecture, there are three domains which we can see here. The one number one is application domain, which consists of the M2M application and the client application. So the M2M application, which can be accessed through in our client application, that is our application domain. The user interface that will be considered in this application domain. Now the network domain, how this can be happened, we will see to it. Before that, we can see this M2M device domain. So the device domain is going to be connected with the connect connected with the different type of devices. So in this particular architecture, this M2M devices are M2M area network, that is WBAN, that is body area networking, wireless body area networking. So this particular WBAN, each and every device this human being is considering as a thing, and it can be connected with each other, and a common gateway is going to be connected to the network domain. So the gateway is the thing which is used to connect different type of networks. The gateway will be used. So at this moment, M2M device domain, this is one network, and this network domain, this is another network. So M2M area network, M2M device domain, and network domain, both will be connected by using this particular gateway. So once the device information is accessed through this M2M gateway, that will be passed to the another gateway which is located in the network domain. So in the network domain, there is a router and as well as the base station. So from the base station, the signals will be passed to the M2M core network via satellite. This can be transmitted to various level remote monitoring system. So in case of remote monitoring system, the transmitter at this moment, it can transmit the signals to the satellites. Then from the satellites, again, this bidirectional ways from this towers to the router, again this communication can be done. At any situation, the service capabilities from the network domain is these device information will be passed through this network domain. Finally, it will reach the application domain which is available for the client applications. So generally this M2M area network consists of different type of protocol. IEEE standard 802.15.6, then the Zigbee technology or the IEEE protocol 802.15.4, then the Bluetooth low energy wireless USB, then the property solutions and Selenium, Zorlink, and Z-Wave. These are all the technologies which will be used in the WBAN. Then in the M2M access network, our common wireless mobile networks will be used. Our GSM, UMTM, UMTS, LTE, LTEA, wireless LAN, WiMAX, and satellite communications. So this will be used in the network domain. In the application domain, as we have seen already, that M2M application will be accessed from this particular server to the client application. So in such a manner, this M2M architecture is going to be function. So the M2M application, let us see how this definitions we can have the explanations. As the name suggests, the M2M application domain offers applications to the M2M technology conveniently. Examples, it includes the server and user application. Then the network domain, M2M network domain. It acts as a bridge between the M2M application domain and the M2M device domain. So it is the middle. It is made of two parts called the M2M core and M2M services capabilities, which we shown in the particular diagram. So the network domain and the service capabilities. Then the M2M device domain, that is, this device domain contains all the devices that can connect to the M2M network easily. These domain can also be called M2M area network. This M2M device domain includes devices that can connect directly over a network, devices that cannot directly connect to a network and may perhaps require the M2M gateway. So directly not to the network in the sense it needs gateway to the network. Otherwise, it can be connected with each other like this fashion. Then the another way of representation, very simple manner, we can see how this can be. So this particular architecture, generally the central cellular network is going to taken care of all these smart devices, this car, then the traffic flow, then the personal communication, e-healthcare, then the smart grids, then the smart bin dustbin collections, and the core area network will consist of the service platform, server and applications. So generally the same card the M will be fixed into the M2M gateway, the first stage. So this is our M2M area network. So this particular device will be used by the user through this uh, M2M gateway. The cellular network will broadcast the major information to the traffic control, smart devices, smart bin, personal communication, smart grids. Directly, this gateway give the connection among all these devices. The core network will provide the service platform from the server side and applications. Internet of Things. Now we are going to compare with M2M versus IoT. So at a glance, we can see the Internet of Things. So Internet of Things is nothing but the connection of various objects or various devices, which is going to be interconnected with each other, and these devices will be controlled by using internet through internet by using the device. So Internet of Things we can control, for example, industrial monitoring and the smart house and the business e-commerce and the e-healthcare monitoring system, then the intelligent transportation, then the environmental monitoring and the structural monitoring. So all these monitoring systems under Internet of Things, it will be controlled. Now the point comes M2M versus IoT. So from our initial first diagram itself, we have seen that machine-to-machine communication is just a direct communication between the devices, whereas the IoT needs the internet for the device-to-device communication. So the communication between machines such as sensor and hardware from one to other, whereas IoT uses an IP network to send and receive data gathered from the devices. These devices send the large data cloud via IoT gateways. A service management system rely on the collected from M2M, that is machine to machine, while IoT integrates an enterprise by connecting devices and offering remote monitoring system, which we have seen previously. This allows the organization to monitor personal assets from a remote location. So the IoT provides the end user with a personal experience and offers them so much more than M2M. So now let us see the abbreviations and so some of the explanations in terms of abbreviation, intelligence, type of connection, communication protocol, data sharing, internet scope examples. So IoT, Internet of Things, M2M, machine to machine communication. So intelligence level is device includes pieces that can make personal decision without outside interference. But in M2M, intelligent only to some extent, up to certain extent only, because it is not going to have some predetermined logic to take certain decision for desired output. So types of connection used devices communicate via network and other wireless communication. It is point-to-point communication, that is device-to-device communication. The protocols used in these communications are HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, and Telnet. Here, the traditional and less secure communication protocols are used. Data sharing. In order to improve the user experience, the data is shared between applications. So the application level, layer level data can be shared here. But here, the data is shared only between allowed connections, the device to device allowed connections. Internet IoT is nothing without the presence of internet communication. But in M2M, devices do not require internet. The scope. The scope of IoT has a bright future and is capable of connecting billions of devices. And the M2M, the limited scope for devices because of the number of devices are limited up to certain extent. Examples: smart wearables, smart cities, smart cars, smart homes, etc. Here, specifically sensors and its data information. So these are all the topics which we can see IoT versus this M2M. Now the scalability in IoT and M2M technologies. So M2M, it is using going to use the traditional mode of communication, and the Internet of Things is more stable since it can communicate with various devices within its network over the internet. Whereas M2M relies on communication through the cellular or wired network. So IoT depends upon the internet, the M2M depends upon the cellular or wired networks. So M2M offers limited possibilities, whereas IoT opens a range of possibilities to integrate various devices. Now make a choice between IoT and M2M. So how to choose this? So in case of M2M is a better option, device have a point-to-point communication. So the communication between few machines, in case if we want to make it, that can be done by using these M2M devices to work even without an internet connection. If you are not concerned about scalability, this M2M is a right option. Then IoT is a better choice when devices need constant syncing of the informations. Then at the same time, sharing information between each other constantly and also the high scalability of the devices and the better performance in the management of the devices. The characteristics of IoT. So interconnectivity, anything can be interconnected with the global information and communication infrastructure. So things related services. So the IoT capability is of providing things related services such as privacy protection and semantic consistency between physical things and their associated virtual things. So both the technologies in physical world and information world will change. The heterogeneity of the devices in the IoT based on different hardware platforms and network. They can interact with each other devices or service platforms through different networks. Then the dynamic changes. So the dynamic changes, that is the state of devices changing dynamically. The sleeping and waking up, connected or disconnected, as well as context of the devices, including location and speed. Moreover, the number of devices can change dynamically. Enormous scale. This is the number of devices that need to be managed and communicate with each other will be at least an order of magnitude larger than the devices connected to the current internet. Even more critical will be management of the data generated and their interpretation for application purposes. This relates to semantics of data as well as efficient data handling. So that is enormous scaling of the devices. Safety. So the benefits from the IoT is we must not forget about the safety as both the creators and recipients of the IoT, we must design for safety, which includes the safety of our personal data and the safety of our physical well-being. Securing the endpoint, the networks and the data moving across all of it means creating a security paradigm that will scale. The connectivity enables the network accessibility and compatibility. Accessibility, getting on a network, while compatibility provides the common ability to consume and produce the data. So the safety and connectivity are the most important characteristics of IoT, which will give more perfect communication between the devices in secure manner. Thank you very much. Thank you.